What is up, guys? Election Central here, back with another video. So today I'm going to be doing my 2 weeks to go prediction for the presidential election of 2020. And it is actually getting a lot closer in a lot of key battleground states. Polls have shown Trump is doing a lot better in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida, Nevada. But will it be enough to defeat Joe Biden? As we all know, Joe Biden has raised a record amount of money. His campaign is doing very well. There's an issue with Hunter Biden now. There's been a lot of talk about the FBI seizing his computer. Will that affect the race if they find anything unjust? Is it going to be like the Hillary email scandal right before the election a couple years ago? It is to be seen. But right now, from all the polls I've analyzed, from the tilts to the margins and all that, I am going to come up with my most likely prediction. I will have a night before the election poll that will come out exactly 24 hours before the first polls close. And that will be my final one. But I can't wait. It's an exciting time in politics. And let's get into it. So we're going to go likely, lean, and tilt. So right now, the likely states for the Republicans or for Donald Trump and the Republicans in the general election are Texas. Freaking click Texas. They are likely to win South Carolina, and they are likely to win North Carolina. I will get into that in a second. The likely states for the Democrats are Nevada, Virginia, New Hampshire, and those are all the likely states for the Democrats. So now why? So Nevada polls have shown Trump coming in a little closer, but they are still a far enough margin to where it is likely safely in Biden's category. What they don't tell you, CNN or Fox, is that polls have a plus or five minus margin. So what that means is if they say Biden 50, Trump 45 in a poll, it could be Trump 50, Biden 45. It could be Trump 50, Biden 50. It could be Biden 55, Trump 40. So there's a really huge range where these polls are. And they do that so they can't get sued. And polls aren't always the most accurate. Just throwing that in there. And from what I've seen in North Carolina, it is looking positive for Trump. South Carolina, there's been a little issue with support. But as from what I've seen with enthusiasm and rallies and stuff like that, I think he will still have South Carolina in a safe margin. Although there is some issue. Can Trump hold the black voter, the young black voter, the young Hispanic Latino voter in South Carolina? That is to be seen. So now, the lean states. So these are close, but not like they're going to be spent in months determining who won the state. So the lean states for the Democrats. The leans right now are New Hampshire. New Hampshire's 2nd district is right now leaning. Minnesota right now is actually, I will go to likely. Minnesota is actually likely. Michigan is right now leaning, and Wisconsin is right now leaning to the Democrats. It is very close, but Trump has struggled in the Midwest. I cannot emphasize this enough. Living in the Midwest, living in Wisconsin, seeing my county, which is one of the more conservative counties, almost be 50-50 is concerning. There is a lot of support for Trump, but there's a lot of more enthusiasm for Biden than I saw for Hillary. So if Trump is not able to get enough of his white men, white women, or get enough young enthusiasm, minority enthusiasm, he's going to lose the Midwest. And right now, I have him losing the Midwest. It's going to be very close margin, But with the pandemic raging in Wisconsin, it's going to be even harder for him to win in Wisconsin. So the lean Republican states right now are Georgia and Ohio. So Georgia and Ohio are, I would say, actually they're more likely Trump, but I want to have them lean because the poll margins have them really close, although who knows how accurate those polls are. Ohio, I think, Trump has lost a little ground, but I still think he'll win it solidly, especially with Joe Biden's controversies on fracking. He said he doesn't like it, then he says he likes it. Life of a politician, flip-flopping on issues. Trump does it too all the time. So that will be very interesting there, and it will also be very interesting in Pennsylvania. Now, as you look at here, it's 259 Biden, 218 Trump. Trump has to win pretty much everything else. He could lose Maine's 2nd district, but he probably won't. Biden just has to win. He has to win one of these states. He could either take Arizona, Florida, or Pennsylvania. These are the 3 states that will decide the election. Right now, Arizona is very, very close. The governor handled the pandemic very well. They were struggling at first. Trump has been putting some effort into Arizona, so is Biden. A lot of ads running there. And from what I've seen from the polls, it is very, very, very close. Within a couple percent. I'll actually pull up the actual number here. It is super duper close, and this could be the state. If Trump loses, it's over. He's got to hold Arizona. Arizona is going to be as crucial as it's ever been, and I think it's going to add a lot more intensity and nerves into the election. So right now, Biden has slight lead in more liberal polls. Trump has a more slight lead in conservative polls, but Trump has been improving. I'm going to put it tilt Trump. The state of Florida. So Florida, the Sun Belt, Trump has been doing better the last couple months in. At the start of the pandemic, he was losing a lot of support here. But there has been a lot of enthusiasm in Florida. The boat parades for Trump, the other rallies, the enthusiasm. It's hard seeing Trump losing in Florida. The margins are very close, closer than they said he was with Hillary. And again, I'm going to say it's going to be tilt Trump. It is super duper close. I cannot stress how close this is for the election. It is going to be within 1% or 2%, just like with Hillary last time. Maine's 2nd, let's not forget it. I think it's going to lean to Trump. It's going to be close with the pandemic, but it's going to lean to Trump. And now it comes the state of Pennsylvania. Obviously, I think Arizona will decide it because it's going to be later on in the night or the evening or the day, whenever the election is decided. But it is going to come down to Pennsylvania. So 259 to 259. Folks, this is going to be the election. It is going to be very, very close. I could be wrong, but looking at the data, all the information I've collected, it is going to be super duper close. Pennsylvania, will Biden's emails affect him? Will the pandemic affect Trump? Will the fracking issues affect Biden? It is back and forth. It's the lesser of 2 evils. And if Trump is able to get the people from the fracking industry out in his favor, if Trump is able to get that rural voter, if he's able to hold on enough in the suburbs, he will win Pennsylvania. If there's not a huge turnout for Trump, like as much as 2016, he will lose. If Biden can get that young voter out, he will lose, or Trump will lose, that is. And right now, looking at the polling data, it is really, really, really close. It is closer than Wisconsin and Michigan. It is closer than Ohio. I got to give this to Trump. The reason why, Hillary had a 5-point plus margin here. Biden barely has a margin in some of these liberal polls. And I don't see, the polls being accurate, and I see the polls actually boosting Biden. I think there will be a red wave of turnout. There will also be a blue wave of turnout. Kind of like imagine two tsunami waves crashing. And whichever wave brings out more voters, brings out more turnout, brings out more enthusiasm, will topple the other wave. So it is going to be a very close election. Remember, guys, these are just polls. This is not the election. You're entitled to your own opinion. This is just, something to help voters out with, to give people a sense of where the country is leaning right now. And it will be, no matter who wins, another divisive 4 more years, whether it's Biden in office or Trump in office. That's just the way of the land. Remember, people, politics is just politics. We're all friends at the end of the day. We just have different solutions to tough issues. This has been Election Central. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back in less than 2 weeks with the final prediction. Peace.